#1 in Idaho. This is KTVB, Idaho's News Channel 7. The news at 10 starts now.
Now on to a story of an airman's remarkable tale of survival after he fell hundreds of feet down a cliff in the Bruneau Canyon. But just as impressive, the lengths a friend went to get him rescued. Scott Evans brings us their story.
This is the Bruneau Canyon that overlooks the Bruneau River. For Jake Rodenhaber and Michael Hemanowski, this was supposed to be a quick little detour to take a look at this gorgeous view. But with one misstep, things took a turn for the worse.
We just made that little pit stop because Mike said he'd never seen it. I was like, wow, bro, you got to see this, you know, it's an amazing place.
Jake Rodenhaber and Michael Hemanowski have been friends for years.
Two guys, you know, just kind of hanging out, and freak accident. Really was.
The two were walking down the path to the left of some safety fencing when the accident happened.
Jake lost his footing. The rocks were sliding from underneath his feet, which caused him to fall down about 30 feet into a rock pile.
Honestly, the last thing I can remember is just watching rocks fall and then slipping, and then I completely blacked out.
I didn't know whether if he was alive or dead.
Hemanowski ran 10 miles to the closest phone. He averaged 6-minute miles, faster than he's ever run before.
Pure adrenaline. Like, I knew what I had to do, and time was against me, and it was just, I wasn't thinking about the pain in my legs.
He found a phone and called for help. Within a half an hour, rescue crews were at the lookout, but there was a problem.
When we were looking down for his body, it wasn't there.
After Hemanowski left his friend to run for help, Rodenhaber passed out again.
And when I woke up, I was farther down the canyon.
Somehow, some way, he fell and slid another 300 feet.
I can't say I panicked, but it became pretty close.
Rescuers began to scale down the mountain while helicopters searched with spotlights from the air.
And it was right there, you know, I could see it, but spotlight was facing up, higher up in the canyon. I started to get, at this point, I'm freezing. It was unbelievable. I was so cold. It was pain in my left, leg kind of went away, but I started to get this like throbbing, this stinging pain in my right knee.
Using a megaphone, rescuers told Rodenhaber to turn on his cell phone, and the helicopter will make one final pass using night vision goggles.
And I pull up my cell phone, click on the light, and I'm just waving it,
It worked. The helicopter spotted him.
And at that point, I'm like, oh my God, thank you, thank you.
But it wasn't for several more hours that a team of volunteer rappellers from Boise got to the scene and started their rescue descent.
I'm just a very impatient person, and so I really, really wanted to get, out of the canyon. At that point, I was like, all right, you know what, my sightseeing's over, definitely done with this.
11 hours after the initial fall, crews secured Rodenhaber and began to hoist him up the cliff with ropes and load him into an ambulance.
They did their job, and I'm very proud of them as well for saving my friend's life.
I feel lucky to be here right now. I definitely know I had a guardian angel that day.
Jake spent several days in ICU and then just over a week in the hospital. He's now out and is expected to fully recover and get back to active duty sometime later on this year. At Bruneau Canyon, Scott Evans, Idaho's News Channel 7.
Isn't that something? After all of that, Rodenhaber broke both bones in his lower left leg, shattered his right knee, collapsed his left lung, and lacerated his liver, but no major head, neck, or spinal injuries. Rodenhaber returned from his second deployment to the Middle East in October, and he says his military training saved his life.